So I was asked, Dwayne, how do I get into technology for the first time? I want to break in. I want to start a new career. That's a complicated question. You see, right now, the industry is completely broken. Okay. The pandemic created a societal collapse. And you may not be aware of this, but our entire civilization went backwards by around 5 to 3 years. Okay. Like our peak technological advancements and the things that were going to be invented for the first time stopped for a little while there in 2020 because of the pandemic. And as people adapted to the new pandemic and didn't spend as much, didn't do as much, did different things, but also died a lot from COVID, that information was lost. Because you have to remember, some of the people that were the most educated in their fields were also the oldest, or they were also under risk of C19. And so a lot of those experts that just died, all that data in their head went with them. And so all the advancements that they were working on, all the things that they were discovering, if they didn't write it down or give it to someone else, it was lost. Okay. It was like it's like a miniature Library of Alexandria worth of knowledge just being poof, gone. Because those libraries of those books in people's heads just it's not around anymore. Okay. The end result of all that is that currently the technology industry is going through a very interesting little panic. Okay. We have new AI, which is scaring everybody who doesn't actually work on it because it's actually really simple. But the marketing people are doing their jobs, and it's scaring a lot of people from hiring. Um, and so the end result is that right now in technology, we're dealing with a lot of coordinated attacks on the industry. In addition to that, so in addition to the pandemic, we've got companies realizing during the pandemic that they had to raise prices because of inflation to be able to pay people what they wanted to make in order to make sure that they were, going to stay around. And those went up, and companies hated that. So they fought back. They coordinated a giant, massive thing, and somebody went around to the HR departments in each of these companies and they started getting together how they would plan out the waterfall of the people they would let go. And that's why we had like, what was it, 600,000 people looking for work or something like that. And so the end result is that right now we're not even halfway. We're maybe 2/3 through that. And so the big issue right now is if you're trying to get into technology for the first time, you need to be able to prove yourself, which means you need to have the experience. So if you're a junior right now, my answer to you is to not try. And I know that's going to piss off a lot of people, and I'm sorry. I really, really wish there was more uh, opportunity in tech for people who wanted to get into it. But right now, the people who actually know what they're doing need to find the jobs so that we can actually carry on humanity's advancements to the next generation. Because the pandemic almost ended us. And you may not agree with that, but I lost enough friends and I lost so many people that were dear to me because of it. And all their knowledge is gone. Okay. They were bright sparks, souls that had value. But in addition to that, the knowledge in their head could have really helped us because a lot of my friends were in tech. And so I'm painfully aware of how hard it is to find good tech people right now. And I'm also painfully aware, as somebody who's currently looking for work, how hard it is to find a job in tech. So I want you to understand If your desire is to get into tech right now, you're going to compete against people like me who have 25 years of professional programming experience working at companies like the one in Redmond that you know, or maybe the one in Bellevue that you know, or the one in Kirkland that you know. And these companies are big, okay? And they're not hiring. So because of that, nobody else is. So if you're trying to get hired, understand that there's somebody who had a principal title who's also applying to that junior role. And so what's happening is we're currently going through a cycle sweep, is what I'm going to call it, where we have a lot of people who have entrenched knowledge and abilities are finding work and they're fine. And there are people who are not fine who do have even more. And it's either going to be cost or the perception of risk. In my case, I've done a lot of contracting and consulting. And with intentionally short roles, if you're a stupid hiring manager that doesn't understand what that means because you haven't been a hiring manager long or you don't understand what contracting and consulting is, you're going to look at my profile and go, oh man, he doesn't stay anywhere. Why does he leave? And then you're going to see that they're contracts and you're going to get confused because you don't understand contracts. But in my case, it was simply a matter of me moving around a lot to get as much experience as possible, but also me being willing to work on things that other people weren't willing to work on for amounts of money that they couldn't have got. So I had a very different career. And so now that I'm looking for work, I would be competing directly with you, person who wants to get into the industry for the first time. Now, if you're a hiring manager and you need somebody to lead the team, who are they going to pick? A guy with 25 years of experience who's worked his way up to executive level, director of engineering roles, got the promotion offered to him for to be a VP, couldn't accept it because of family obligations, who had the integrity to say no to the VP promotion and then go back down to a senior dev role at Microsoft? Or do you want a guy who doesn't have any experience at all and hasn't put the work out to put their profiles out? Because, hey, the people who are telling me this, the people who are asking me for help to get into the industry, none of them have done anything. They've watched YouTube videos like this one. But my advice, if you want to get into tech, stop watching YouTube videos. Watch mine if you want to. I'll do my best to make sure they're worth your time. But the cold hard fact is that after I'm done making this YouTube video and I'm done with uploading it and making sure it's tagged correctly and everything, I'm going to go back to my job search. And then at 5 o'clock, I am going to get the alarm behind me is going to go off. And it's going to say, Dwayne, it's after 5. You need to rest. Tomorrow's another day. And at that point, I'm going to go back to, I'm going to eat, I'm going to take care of myself, and I'm going to make sure that when I sit back down again tonight, I'll be wearing a hacker hoodie, and I'm going to have these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 screens. And I'm going to be programming. So, yeah, you want to get into tech? You're going to have to code. There's no way around it. If you hate programming, if you hate sitting in front of an IDE all day and typing and dealing with code, software isn't the world for you. Because that's what it is. It's code. It's code quality. It's unit tests to make sure things work. It's using code quality and continuous integration and continuous improvement to make things the best possible. So that in the end, the code that you're taking care of can be a reliable story for the customers to read, take part of. And if you don't have those skills, then, well, you shouldn't try to get into technology, because there are a lot of people who are wanting those jobs right now. We've got 100,000 extra people who are looking for work, who have the experience, who have the degrees, who have everything, and they're all ahead of you. And so if that scares you at all, save yourself the trouble, because you're always going to be competing with them. You're always going to be having to update your skills, because once you get into technology, it's not a simple matter of, oh, I'm in, great. No. You see, every few years, they like to cycle people out. There is no full-time job that will stay forever in technology. Or at least I haven't encountered a company that would do it that way. I've had plenty of people tell me, look, this is just a contract, but who knows? And then I go back and I find that I'm not even allowed to be a full-time because of the anti-poaching agreement that the recruiter signed without my consent. And so I'm stuck in a contract in that case, and I don't have the opportunity to be able to be a full-time employee. So of course I leave, because there's no future there. And so if you want that life, if you want to struggle, if you want to get up every day and immediately think about code, and you want to immediately think about the bugs and the defects and the security problems, and you want to make sure that every morning you wake up and the first thing you read is the newly released CVEs from overnight, then okay, watch my videos. I'll teach you the stuff that no one else wants to teach you, because it's not flashy. It's not going to help them be seen as better, okay? I know some of the personalities on YouTube. I also know they're full of shit. And so, from my perspective, oh crud, I'm going to have to bleep that, aren't I? That means more work for me tonight. But I guess you're worth it. So subscribe, ring the bell, and if you really, really want to get into tech, and you don't want the BS and the lies and the marketing from the other people, you want to know what it's really like. Well, then thank you for your subscription. Like, subscribe, and let me know.